When we think of Switzerland, what often comes to mind? We might picture towering snow-capped mountains, pristine lakes, delicious chocolate, or perhaps those incredibly precise watches. Switzerland has built a global reputation for stability, quality, and a quiet sort of elegance. It's a country that feels both ancient and modern all at once. But there's another story, a smaller, more intimate one, that tells the tale of this remarkable nation's journey. This is a story you can literally hold in the palm of your hand. It is the history of Swiss coins, a fascinating chronicle of a land that transformed from a collection of fiercely independent communities into one of the world's most stable federations. The history of Swiss money is not just about economics, it's a vibrant tapestry woven with threads of art, politics, religion, and identity. Each tiny metal disc is a miniature monument, a snapshot of its time. Following the evolution of these coins is like taking a walk through Swiss history itself. We start with ancient Celtic tribes minting their first crude imitations of foreign money, move through the might of the Roman Empire, and then into the complex and fragmented world of the Middle Ages. It's a story of chaos gradually giving way to order, a journey from a confusing mess of local currencies to the single unified Swiss franc we know today. What makes Swiss coinage so particularly special is how it reflects the very character of the nation. The Swiss journey to unity was a long and often difficult one. For centuries, this mountainous land was a patchwork of city-states, powerful bishoprics and rural cantons, each with its own ruler, its own laws, and crucially, its own money. The coins from this era tell a story of local pride, of fierce independence, and of a Europe in constant flux. They are decorated with city coats of arms, patron saints, and symbols of local power, each one a declaration of its own small world's importance. So let's embark on this journey. We will uncover how these small, everyday objects reveal the grand narrative of a nation's birth. We will see how designs and metals change with the times, reflecting wars, religious reformations, and economic booms. We will meet the iconic figures and symbols that came to represent Switzerland on its currency, like the noble Helvetia. This is more than just a history of money, it's a story of how a diverse group of people, nestled in the heart of Europe, forged a common identity and a shared destiny. One coin at a time, it's a truly pocket-sized history of a great nation. Our story begins long before Switzerland was even a whisper of an idea in the Iron Age, around 2,500 years ago. The lands we now call Switzerland were home to various Celtic tribes, most famously the Helvetii. These were sophisticated people, skilled in metalwork and trade, but they didn't invent coinage themselves. Instead, they did what many cultures do when they encounter a powerful new idea. They copied it. Their first coins were inspired by the money of the great powers of the time, namely the Greeks and later the Romans. They saw these shiny, portable pieces of wealth and understood their potential for trade and status. The earliest Celtic coins found in Switzerland are fascinatingly abstract. They are often called rainbow cups or Regenbogenschüsselchen in German because legend said they appeared where a rainbow touched the earth. These were bowl-shaped gold coins, known as stutters, that were imitations of the gold status of Philip II of Macedon, the father of Alexander the Great. But the Helvetii were not interested in perfect copies. They took the original designs, a head of the god Apollo on one side and a two-horse chariot on the other, and transformed them into something uniquely their own, full of swirling patterns and stylized, almost dreamlike figures. These early coins were not just for buying and selling goods in a marketplace. They were powerful symbols of wealth and authority. A chieftain who could mint or distribute these precious gold pieces was demonstrating his power and influence over his people. The materials themselves, primarily gold and later silver or bronze alloys, were inherently valuable. The designs, though abstract to our eyes, would have been rich with meaning for the Celts, perhaps representing mythological stories, protective spirits, or tribal symbols. They were a form of portable art and propaganda, announcing the prestige of their owner to the world. As time went on, the designs became even more localized and distinct. Different tribes developed their own styles, creating a varied and artistically rich numismatic landscape. Some coins featured stylized animals like horses or boars, which were important creatures in Celtic mythology and daily life. Others had complex geometric patterns that might seem purely decorative but likely held deeper symbolic meanings. These first coins are a testament to the creativity and adaptability of the Celtic peoples, who took a foreign concept and remade it in their own image, leaving behind a beautiful and mysterious first chapter in the story of Swiss currency. The world of the Celtic tribes, with their unique and artistic coins, was set to change dramatically. In the 1st century BC, the unstoppable power of Rome arrived at their doorstep. Julius Caesar's campaigns in Gaul brought the region, which the Romans called Helvetia, under the firm control of the Roman Republic and later the Empire. With the legions came not just new roads, cities and laws, but also a completely new and highly organized system of money. The whimsical, abstract Celtic coins were soon replaced by the standardized imperial currency of Rome, a monetary system that was as much a tool of conquest as the sword. The arrival of Roman coins marked a profound shift in daily life. Gone were the locally styled staters and potin coins. In their place came the denarius, the sestertius and the as, all bearing the unmistakable mark of Roman authority. On one side you would almost always find the portrait of the reigning emperor. This was brilliant propaganda. Every time a person made a transaction, whether buying bread in the market of Aventicum, the capital of Roman Helvetia, or paying a tax, they were holding a reminder of who was in charge. The emperor's face was everywhere, a constant symbol of imperial power and presence across a vast and diverse empire. Roman coins were produced with an industrial efficiency that was astonishing for the ancient world. Mints in Rome, Lugdunum, modern-day Lyon, and other major cities churned out millions of coins that were distributed throughout the provinces, including Helvetia. This created a unified economic zone, making trade across long distances far easier than it had been with the patchwork of Celtic currencies. A merchant from Aventicum could travel to Britannia or Syria and use the very same coins. This monetary integration helped to bind the empire together, fostering economic growth and solidifying Roman control over its territories. For the people living in Helvetia, this new money changed everything. It introduced a level of standardization and reliability that had never existed before. The value of a silver denarius was understood across the Roman world, making commerce more predictable. While the local Celtic elites may have lost their privilege of minting their own status symbol coins, the general population gained access to a stable and widely accepted currency. For several centuries, the coins of the Roman emperors were the only coins that mattered in Switzerland, a powerful and lasting legacy of a conquering empire that reshaped the economic landscape of Europe. All empires eventually fall, and Rome was no exception. By the 5th century AD, Roman authority in Helvetia had crumbled. The legions withdrew, and the great unified economic system they had maintained for centuries collapsed with them. This left a huge power vacuum, and the lands of Switzerland entered a long, confusing period often referred to as the Dark Ages. As Roman order faded, so did its standardized currency. What followed was a monetary fragmentation, a return to a localized and often chaotic system of coinage that perfectly mirrored the political landscape of the time. The single voice of the emperor's coin was replaced by a chorus of different rulers. In the centuries after Rome's fall, various Germanic tribes, such as the Burgundians and the Alemanni, settled in the region. At first, they didn't create entirely new coins. Instead, they continued to produce imitations of late Roman and Byzantine coins, a practice known as pseudo-imperial coinage. These coins often featured crude, stylized portraits of emperors they had no connection to, along with garbled Latin inscriptions. It was a sign of the times. Everyone remembered the power and prestige of Roman money, and they tried to capture a little of that magic for themselves, even if the central authority that had backed it was long gone. As the Carolingian Empire rose under leaders like Charlemagne in the 8th and 9th centuries, there was a brief period of monetary reform and centralization. Charlemagne introduced a new standard, the silver denier, or penny, which brought some uniformity back to Western Europe. However, after his empire broke apart, the right to mint coins, a privilege known as the right of coinage, splintered once again. This right was granted to or seized by a growing number of local powers. In the lands that would become Switzerland, this meant that powerful dukes, Counts, bishops, and abbots of influential monasteries all began striking their own coins. This created a truly bewildering monetary situation. A traveler journeying from Geneva to Zurich might have had to change their money multiple times. The coins of the Bishop of Lausanne were different from those of the Abbot of St. Gallen, which were different again from those of the Duke of Zahringen, the founder of cities like Bern and Fribourg. Each coin was a miniature declaration of sovereignty. It bore the symbols of its issuer, a patron saint for a bishopric, a family crest for a nobleman, or a distinctive landmark. This patchwork of currencies was a direct reflection of a fragmented political world where power was local, and a unified Swiss nation was still centuries away. As the Middle Ages progressed, a new political force began to emerge in the heart of the Alps, the Swiss Confederacy. Starting in the late 13th century, a handful of rural communities, the original cantons, formed alliances to protect their independence from powerful feudal lords like the Habsburgs. As these cantons grew in strength and confidence, and as powerful cities like Zurich, Bern, and Lucerne joined the Confederacy, they too began to exercise the coveted right of coinage. This marked a crucial step in their journey towards self-governance. Minting your own money was, a powerful statement that you were master in your own house. The coins produced by the Swiss cantons and their allied cities during the late medieval and early modern periods are a stunning display of regional pride and identity. Unlike the earlier coins of feudal lords, which were all about personal power, these coins represented a community. The city of Bern, for example, famously began striking coins featuring a bear, in German, a visual pun on the city's name that remains its symbol to this day. Zurich's coins often depicted its patron saints, Felix Regula and Exuperantius, while Lucerne's showed its distinctive city gate and bridge. Each coin was, in a way, a tiny billboard advertising the city's or canton's unique character and heritage. The variety of coins was immense. The most important was the large silver, the ancestor of the word dollar, but there were many smaller denominations, such as the and the. The designs became more sophisticated over time, evolving from simple medieval symbols to intricate Renaissance and Baroque artwork. During the Reformation in the 16th century, the coins of Protestant cities like Zurich and Geneva underwent a change. The images of saints were often replaced with Bible verses or city mottos, reflecting the new religious and intellectual currents sweeping through Europe. These coins became vessels for new ideas, not just economic tools. This period, while artistically rich, was, honestly, a practical nightmare for trade and travel. The value of a Bernese thaler was not necessarily the same as a thaler from Basel or Geneva. Each canton set its own standards for the weight and purity of its silver coins, leading to constant confusion and the need for money changers at every border. This monetary chaos was a direct reflection of the old Swiss Confederacy itself, a loose alliance of independent states united for defense but fiercely protective of their own local sovereignty. The dream of a single unified Swiss currency was still a long way off. The old Swiss Confederacy, with its patchwork of currencies, was swept away at the end of the 18th century by the tides of the French Revolution. In 1798, French forces invaded, and the old system was replaced by the short-lived Helvetic Republic, a centralized state modeled on revolutionary France. For the first time, a single currency was introduced for the entire country, the franken, divided into 10 batzen, or 100 rappen. Although the Helvetic Republic itself was a political failure and collapsed after just 5 years, the idea of a unified national currency had been planted. The genie of monetary union could not be put back in its bottle. After the fall of Napoleon, Switzerland was restored as a confederation of cantons, and confusingly many cantons went right back to minting their own coins. The situation became even more chaotic than before. By the 1840s, it's estimated that there were over 860 different types of coins in circulation in Switzerland, issued not only by the 22 cantons, but also by foreign states whose money freely crossed the borders. This was an impossible situation for a modernizing economy. A merchant needed complex conversion tables just to do business in a neighboring region, a major obstacle to trade and industrial development. The call for fundamental reform grew louder and louder. The moment of change came in 1848. Following a brief civil war, a new federal constitution was adopted, transforming Switzerland from a loose confederation of states into a true federal nation. One of the most important new powers given to the federal government was the exclusive right to mint coins. This was a revolutionary step. In 1850, the Swiss Federal Coinage Act was passed, and the modern Swiss franc was born, with its value set to be equal to the French franc at the time. The federal government in Bern began issuing the first official coins for the entire country. This was a massive undertaking. The hundreds of old cantonal and foreign coins had to be withdrawn from circulation and replaced with the new uniform currency. The new coins were deliberately simple and unifying. They did not feature the bear of Bern or the key of Geneva. Instead, they carried symbols that represented the entire nation. The Swiss cross, the wreath of oak and laurel leaves, and the allegorical figure of Helvetia, a female personification of the nation. It was a clear message from many: we are now one. The introduction of the Swiss franc was a powerful, practical symbol of Switzerland's new national unity. With the new federal state firmly established, Switzerland entered a period of economic prosperity and national confidence in the late 19th century. This was reflected in its beautiful new coinage, particularly its gold coins. In 1883, the Bern Mint introduced a magnificent 20-franc gold coin that would become an enduring national symbol. On one side, it featured the Swiss coat of arms. On the other, it bore a noble, classical-style head of a woman, her hair braided and a crown of alpine flowers on her head. This was Libertas, the personification of liberty, but she would soon become known simply as Helvetia, the mother of the nation. This first design, however, received some criticism. Some felt the portrait of Helvetia looked a bit too severe, perhaps a bit too old to represent a vibrant and youthful nation. So, in 1895, a competition was held to create a new design for the 20-franc gold piece. The winning artist was Fritz Ulissi Landry from Neuchâtel. His design was a masterstroke of national symbolism. It depicted a younger, more radiant Helvetia with a determined gaze, her hair in braids, set against a breathtaking backdrop of the Swiss Alps. This iconic coin, first minted in 1897, quickly earned the affectionate nickname Vreneli, a Swiss-German diminutive for the name Verena. The Vreneli was more than just money. It was a piece of art and a statement of national pride. Everything about its design spoke to the Swiss identity. Helvetia represented the strength and spirit of the Swiss people, the personification of the unified nation. The towering Alps behind her were a direct link to the country's dramatic geography, the very landscape that had shaped its history and character. The inscription Helvetia confirmed her as the national symbol. Minted in 21.6 carat gold, the coin also represented Switzerland's growing economic stability and its commitment to the international gold standard of the Latin Monetary Union. The Vreneli was incredibly popular and became the most famous Swiss coin ever made. Millions were minted until 1936, and more were restruck in the 1940s. It was a trusted store of value, and families would often keep a few Vreneli coins as a nest egg for hard times. Today, the Vreneli is no longer in circulation, but it holds a special place in the hearts of the Swiss people. It represents a golden age of Swiss confidence, stability, and artistry. For collectors and citizens alike, the Vreneli is not just a coin, it is a timeless symbol of Switzerland itself, a perfect fusion of natural beauty and national spirit. The 20th century brought immense challenges to the world, including two devastating world wars and the Great Depression. These global crises had a profound impact on currencies everywhere. The gold standard, which had anchored the value of coins like the Vreneli, collapsed. Precious metals like gold and silver became too valuable to be used in everyday circulating coins. Like other nations, Switzerland had to adapt its coinage to these new economic realities. This led to a significant change in the materials used for Swiss money, but remarkably not in their beloved designs. The first major change came for the silver coins. For decades, the half, 1, 2 and 5 franc coins had been minted in silver, giving them a satisfying weight and sheen. However, as the price of silver rose dramatically in the 1960s, the metal value of the coins became higher than their face value. This meant it was profitable for people to melt them down. To prevent this, the Swiss government made a pragmatic decision. In 1968, they ceased minting silver coins for circulation and switched to a new alloy of copper and nickel. This change ensured the coins could remain in circulation without being hoarded or destroyed. What is truly remarkable about this transition is the Swiss commitment to tradition and continuity. When they changed the metals, they kept the classic designs completely unchanged. The 5 franc coin, for instance, still features the heroic figure of an alpine herdsman, a design by Paul Burckhardt that dates all the way back to 1922. The 1 and 2 franc coins still bear the iconic image of a standing Helvetia, surrounded by 23 stars representing the cantons, a design by Albert Walch from 1874. This decision to preserve the historical imagery was deliberate. It provided a sense of stability and reassurance during a century of rapid and often turbulent change. Even the smallest denomination coins tell a story of consistency. The 1 and 2 Rappen bronze coins were eventually taken out of circulation due to their low value, but the 5, 10 and 20 Rappen coins have remained virtually unchanged for over 140 years. The 10 Rappen coin, with the head of Libertas, has been minted with the same design since 1879. This incredible design longevity is almost unique in the world. It reflects a core aspect of the Swiss national character, a deep respect for tradition, a preference for gradual evolution over radical change, and a belief in the enduring power of its national symbols. In an age of digital payments and credit cards, one might think that physical coins are becoming obsolete. Yet in Switzerland, cash, and particularly coins, remains remarkably popular. The Swiss franc is one of the world's most stable and trusted currencies, and the coins themselves continue to play a vital role in daily life. They are more than just a medium of exchange. They are tangible pieces of national heritage that connect the Swiss people to their shared history and values every single day. The designs that were chosen in the 19th and early 20th centuries still resonate deeply today. The symbolism embedded in Swiss coins serves as a constant, subtle reminder of the nation's identity. The standing Helvetia on the 1 and 2 franc coins is not just a woman. She's a symbol of a strong, unified, and yet peaceful nation, holding a spear but also an olive branch. The alpine herdsman on the 5 franc coin represents the country's rural roots, its connection to the land, and the values of hard work and self-reliance. Even the simple wreath of oak leaves and gentian flowers on the smaller coins speaks to the combination of strength and natural beauty that defines the Swiss landscape and character. For numismatists and collectors around the world, Swiss coins hold a special appeal. Their reputation for quality extends to their minting. They are well struck, durable, and often feature beautiful, timeless designs. Collectors seek out rare cantonal thalers, the elegant gold Vreneli, and even modern commemorative coins issued to celebrate significant Swiss events, people, and innovations. Collecting these coins is a way of engaging with Swiss history on a personal level, holding a piece of the past and appreciating the artistry and craftsmanship that went into its creation. Each collection becomes a miniature museum of Swiss history. In conclusion, the story of Swiss coins is a remarkable journey from fragmentation to unity, from chaos to stability. It begins with the artistic expressions of Celtic tribes, moves through the unifying force of the Roman Empire, and navigates the complex patchwork of the Middle Ages. It shows us how the proud cantons and cities expressed their independence before finally coming together to forge a single nation with a single currency. The Swiss franc and its predecessors are more than just money. They are pocket-sized monuments to Swiss resilience, pragmatism, and enduring identity, proving that sometimes the smallest objects can tell the grandest stories.